Hello everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get started because my clock is reading 1 p.m. EST. So my name is Summer and I'm going to be introducing our webinar today, Simple and Smooth Database Integrations, Connecting ProcessMaker to your Postgres database. Pablo is going to present a demo of how to connect your database to ProcessMaker after this introduction. So before we get started with the demo, I'm going to go ahead and introduce ProcessMaker to all of you guys out there who are not familiar with ProcessMaker already. Then after the introduction to ProcessMaker, I'll move on to a short summary about our database connections with ProcessMaker. After that, I'll move on to a very brief agenda of what we're going to go over in the demo, and then after that we can go ahead and hand it over to Pablo, who will show you how to connect your Postgres database to ProcessMaker. So let's start with the introduction to ProcessMaker. So as some of you may already know, ProcessMaker features an intuitive drag and drop process designer. So that means you can simply drag and drop process elements from the top toolbar onto the process map in a matter of minutes. Our intuitive process designer also allows you to create process maps with minimal coding. So anyone can pretty much design a process map with ProcessMaker. ProcessMaker also features drag and drop Dynaform designers. Dynaforms means dynamic forms, which are digital forms that end users can use to submit process information to ProcessMaker. One of the nice things about our Dynaform design is that they feature responsive design, which means that you only need to design a Dynaform once to work on tablets, mobile phones, or desktops. You only need one design for any device. ProcessMaker also features data reporting tools and dashboards, which allow you to display information about your cases or information from your database table in a nice database chart, such as bar graphs, pie charts, or simply a data table. All of these charts are fully customizable, and you can take data from pretty much any database table or report table in ProcessMaker to make an attractive graph like you see on the screen. ProcessMaker also features other types of reporting tools, such as KPIs to report on process or employee efficiency. So once you've found bottlenecks or inefficiencies in your processes using our KPI tools or our data reporting tools or dashboards, you can go ahead and change your process map back in the designer with our intuitive drag and drop interface. So basically, ProcessMaker features a fully integrated experience for managing your business processes. So that wraps up my introduction to ProcessMaker. So let me tell you a little bit about our integrations with external databases. So ProcessMaker supports connections to 4 databases officially: MySQL, which is the default ProcessMaker database; Oracle databases, which we covered in the last webinar about connections to Oracle databases. If you missed that webinar and you're interested in watching it, you can go ahead and head to ProcessMaker.com, go under Services to Webinars, and then look under our recorded webinars list. We also feature connections to PostgreSQL databases, which we're going to cover in this webinar. And then in our next webinar, we'll cover connections to a Microsoft SQL Server database. So all 4 of these database types can be queried with SQL from ProcessMaker. So all you really need to do is enter a SQL query into your Dynaform design or in a trigger to send information back and forth from ProcessMaker to your database, or vice versa. And if you're interested in connecting to an unsupported database, you can use PHP's database extensions inside a trigger from your process to establish a connection to another unsupported database from ProcessMaker. And if you're interested in learning more about database connections, particularly how to connect to an unsupported database, you can feel free to check out our wiki at wiki.processmaker.com and then just search for database connections. So then after this, let me give you a brief summary of what we're going to cover in the demo. So today's demo is going to show you how to enable the PostgreSQL option in the database connections panel. And this is the panel that is displaying on your screen right now. And when you first open ProcessMaker, Postgres is not available as an engine in that first top field. So we'll show you how to get Postgres to show up as an engine in this Create Database Connection panel to establish that connection. Then we'll show you how to connect ProcessMaker and PostgreSQL from the Process Designer using this panel by filling in the rest of the fields. And then we'll show you how to query data from a Postgres database to the process from a Dynaform and a trigger. And then we'll show you how to send data from a process to a Postgres database. So let me go ahead and give it to Pablo to show you the demo.
Well, welcome to this second demo of this series of databases and ProcessMaker. So we have been showing different connections with other databases, SQL databases specifically. And well, today we are going to talk about PostgreSQL. We're going to study that. For that reason, I'm going to present you this process as part of the demo. So let me open it. Okay. Okay. The process that I have selected here is going to do two actions. The first one is going to be reading from a table in a database, PostgreSQL, and this reading action is going to take information from a collection of items in some collection of books that I have in my table of the database. The other action is going to be writing. We are going to include details for this process to register a book, and that data of that book is going to be placed in a table in our PostgreSQL database. So both actions, reading and writing. But it seems to be that for that I need to have a connection. So in that case, you are going to see that here in database connections that I have already set this type of connection. But I want to dig it out more. I want to go further. I want to see what happened previously. I'm going to show you that here it doesn't come magically. You have to know how to install PostgreSQL. But it's not high demanding. We are going to learn it today. Okay, so now let's see it. I'm going to show the installation of PostgreSQL in Windows and in distribution of Linux, CentOS. In both systems, I'm going to work. Let's check it out first with Windows. Let me bring an installation that I have with Bitnami. It's a host installation, and in here you're going to check that if I create a database, in this drop down I'm not going to find PostgreSQL as an option of engine for this database connection. So what I have to do is to go to one of the files that I have here in my installation. Obviously this depends on the installation, and this is a Bitnami one. So I go to PHP here, and then I have to look for this file, okay, with the extension ini. So I'm going to open, well, and it's already open here. I'm going to close it. It's already opened here, and in this file I need to check these extensions: php underscore pdo underscore pgsql.dll, and this other one, extension equal php underscore pgsql.dll. I need to enable both extensions, so I enable them, and there you have. After enabling these extensions, I move here to services, and I look for ProcessMaker Apache and restart the service. Okay. Once that happens, I go back to my installation here. Okay. I move back here to the database, and I'm going to make a refresh. I'm going to re-enter to my installation in Windows. In this case, it was used Bitnami. Okay. I'm going to include this VAT here. Okay. And now let's check it out. Okay. Let me see if I enabled. Okay, both extensions are enabled. I didn't save the. Okay, I forgot to save the file, and now I'm going to restart the Apache. Okay, then move it back here and refresh again. I'm going to open this process, and I'm going to check now. And now you can see that PostgreSQL is going to be part of this set of engines that we have for the database connection creation. Okay, so Windows, I'm going to make the summary here. I'm going to enable the extensions that you have found here, and then after enabling the required extensions, I'm going to restart Apache server. I'm considering this stack: Apache, PHP, and MySQL. Okay, I'm working in this, but I need to enable some PHP modules for this PostgreSQL. Okay, for CentOS, I'm going to move back here, and I need to go to my server. So I'm going to use some command line in this case. Okay, let me, first of all, I'm going to write this code, and it's going to be PHP, PGL, SQL. I'm going to search the available options that I have. And well, since my version of PHP is 5.6, I'm going to choose this one that you can see here. By now, if I move to the database connections here, okay, it's still, I'm going to restart again. Okay. Okay. Well, I have removed this one, so I'm going to reboot for a while my process. Okay. I'm going to make some rebooting to make it run again and see what is happening. So just bear me a moment. We're going to see the installation in a moment. By now, I don't have the Postgres. Okay. This has been cached before, so I'm going to see that. I'm going to open my server once more. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to operate here. Re-enter to my server. Go to the database here. Okay. Okay. I don't have PostgreSQL. I have rebooted my system, and by doing this action, it's going to consider all the settings, all the configurations, and you don't see now you don't see anything here for the engine. So it's like it is just you don't see Postgres in this engine dropdown. So what I'm going to do is to move here to my server of CentOS. I am going to install it, and if you remember, let me move back here. If you remember, I was looking for this type of package for the installation. So this package suits my PHP version. So I'm going to apply this yum install PHP 5.6u, then PGSQL 886 underscore 64. Okay. Okay. I'm going to install it, and this is the available package. I'm going to install it. This depends on the repository you have for the installation. So I'm going to wait for a while. I invite you also to check our wiki page if you need some information about the installation of other databases. The first demo was related to Oracle, so we talk about Oracle installation, and the last one is going to be dedicated to Microsoft SQL database. As you can see here, installation of Postgres is even easier. It doesn't take a lot of time. So because it's automatically, it provides you the client of everything you need for Postgres SQL. Okay. Okay, so let's wait for a moment. Okay, well, it's very interesting to notice that now we can start working with other databases. After this installation, I'm going to show you the things that you can do, how I read data, and then how I write data by using this communication, this integration with our databases. So you are going to look at the structure that I use in some cases, some queries that I might use, or the use of maybe an ID of reference that is very important in this case. So these are things that we are going to check. Okay, by now I'm doing the installation for this one. I'm making the installation of the module that I require for PostgreSQL. So let's wait for a while. Okay, it's not taking a lot of time. Okay, finished. The package is installed. I'm going to say yes. Okay. Okay. I'm going to reboot again my server here. I can also reinitiate the server Apache. I can do that. Okay. I prefer to reboot it directly. Okay. Let me enter here. Okay. Well, the IP I know by heart, so I'm going just to refresh this. Oh, excuses. Okay, it's this one. I'm going to re-enter again the credentials. And now let's see if I have available the database connection. So I'm going to click on create. And now Postgres is enabled in this server of CentOS. So I just install the package. I'm going to verify the version of PHP I require. I recognize that version. I recognize what package is going to be helpful, is going to assist my connection. And after that, I install it by command line. Once everything is connected, I can see here I'm going to enter all these details for the connection, so you are going to be able to construct your own connection. I'm going to test it, and when everything is clear, when everything is correct, you are going to receive these 4 messages. So it means that I am able to do the connection with Postgres. And the most important thing is that it provides me an ID. This ID identifies the connection. Okay, now I'm going to show you here what does this database do. So I'm going to move to steps, and I said reading and writing. So if I look to the part of reading, in my Dynaform, I included here this Postgres. Okay, I selected this database, SQL Postgres, and then I have written this SQL statement to read the information. So if I click on here, you are going to see this population of data. I'm going to bring here my database and enter to the schema, and actually I'm talking about this data red. I'm going to close this, red in this drop down. Okay, now if my intention is to write, you are going to see here that I apply this type of trigger, and it uses this ID. This is the ID that identifies the communication between ProcessMaker and PostgreSQL. So after that, you can execute a query to write information, and in this case, I'm going to transfer all this information into this table. So if I move backwards here, I move to the collection ID. No, my excuses. Okay, I'm going to move backwards here. I move to this schema, and I need to go here. I want to write in this table register records of books that I obtain from a bookstore. Okay, so let's begin now. I'm going to move to home and do the demo. So I'm going to click on new and click on here. I'm going to write a book of mathematics of 30 pounds, and it's going to be Isaac Newton, the author. I'm going to invent a code. The edition is going to be Cambridge, I believe, and the name is going to be Principia Mathematica. Then I'm going to enter another book of 30 euro. Then the author can be Nietzsche. Okay, and this is going to be Berlin edition, and the name can be Das Spoke Zarathustra. Okay, and these books are going to be written in the database. So I'm going to transfer, finish it. Let me see this. I'm going to renew this, move here, go to book details, browse it, and there you have. Okay, so we have learned how to install in both in Windows and in one distribution of Linux, and also the actions that we can take, that we can do by using this integration with Postgres. Okay, so we try to simplify by making ProcessMaker a better integration with other databases. Thanks for your attendance.
Okay, thanks Pablo for your demo, and thank you guys for listening. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to submit them now. And we will start answering questions in the order of their submission. And while you guys are going ahead and writing your questions, I just want to tell you about our upcoming webinars. So in about 2 weeks, we're going to show you what's new in the new version of ProcessMaker, which is ProcessMaker 3.3.0. So be sure to write that down because you definitely won't want to miss that. We've got a bunch of cool new features in ProcessMaker 3.3.0, like the Process Documenter plugin, the Google Authentication plugin, new and cool audit tools, and other features that we're going to show you in ProcessMaker 3.3.0. Then after that, we've got the final webinar in our series about database integrations. And in that webinar, we'll be showing you how to connect ProcessMaker to your Microsoft SQL Server database. And that will be in about a month on Wednesday, September 21st. And then on December 6th, we have our first feature focus webinar about ProcessMaker 3.3, which is a webinar that focuses on our new audit tools in 3.3.0.
Well, time to our Q&A section. Well, I have a question that it says, this. Does PostgreSQL engine has to be installed in the same server as ProcessMaker to set a debug connection to? But actually, in some installations, they are going to already have the modules that you need in PHP. Okay, so you might have another server of PostgreSQL. You just have to bring back the packages that are necessary for this connection. Okay, you can have an external database in that case. Yeah. John Moore asks me, can you connect to Maria database? Well, by now we have provided information for Oracle, we have provided information for Postgres and for Microsoft SQL databases. Okay, we generally try not to use Maria database, especially when we do installations, because we by default use MySQL. It's our default database in our stack. Okay, if you have it in an external server, I think that we can try it. Okay.
On our wiki page, the database connections wiki page, you can use PHP extensions to connect to unsupported databases. So just tell them to check out the wiki.
Another thing, if you want to know more about the connection of databases, I recommend you to read the literature that you find in our wiki page, because you might find some other databases, unusual databases that we use. I'm going to see this, okay? Okay. I think that we have enough questions here. But well, the point is that I invite you to check our literature in ProcessMaker if you want to check. Okay, so there is a section called databases and databases connections and other databases. So you can click it here, and then you are going to see all the type of databases are used here. So it's plenty of information that you can find. Okay, I invite you to read. Well, I think that our Q&A section has finished, and thanks for your attendance. I'm going to receive you for another webinar. We are going to have the webinars that you can see in the screen. Thanks for all. Bye.